Hey everybody, welcome to Pale in Comparison, a proud member of the Doof Network. In this podcast, my sister uses her knowledge of the Otherverse to take a look at Pact, Wildbow's least chill work, and I try to not give away any spoilers. I'm Jenny, and Malia convinced me to read Worm.
I'm Malia, and Jenny convinced me to read everything else. This episode, we are covering Histories, Arc 14. Before we get into that, however, I'd like to issue a spoiler warning. This podcast is filled with pale spoilers. If you don't know what makes Charles a big sloppy dick, not in the fun way, and don't want us to tell you, stop now, read Pale, and come back to this podcast. As for Pact, there will be full spoilers to the chapters we are covering.
Okay, before we go on, what would make Charles a big sloppy dick in a fun way?
I don't know, ask Mal.
I mean, that's fair, but but the way you said that seemed like it should be universal. But I guess that is what she said. But but just the way you said that, I was like, yeah, not in the fun way, guys. But
not in the fun way.
Yeah, in the bad way.
Some people like big dicks, and big sloppy dicks might be something that some people like.
From Charles? Who wants Charles's big sloppy dick?
No one.
There you go. My point exactly.
Okay.
Maybe someone did once, but that was
Seth.
A long time ago.
There we go. That's
Seth wanted Charles' big sloppy dick. Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's probably one.
We've had some people want other people's dicks, like what's his face wanted Alexander's dick, right?
Easton and Musser, I think.
That's the one. Easton. He's like, I would gladly go down like a fucking animal or whatever he said, you know?
And not in a gay way.
Not in a gay way, but just in a mutual respect for as a human being. just want to just in the mood for sausage tonight, and just wanted to appreciate,
pay my respects,
the male form as a male who knows the form best, and it's not a gay thing.
Yeah.
But actually, Easton I'm like, is Easton a homophobe?
I think he said like, if I was a woman or if I was a girl, I'd totally do
That's
this.
Right.
So,
that's right. Okay.
Yes. Except, I don't know. Whatever. I don't know. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I mean, we've got some big sloppy dick love in this book, but not for Charles. So
not for Charles.
He's all alone in the corner, doing whatever he's doing. And that's as far as I probably should go with that. So, it's my very short summary, although I'll talk more as we go through. But this is a Faysal interlude, and I mean, it's not. I guess there's some Johannes in there as well.
Johannes!
You're right. There's also Johannes.
Yay! We learned things.
We learned stuff. What do you think of these chapters, or this chapter? That's what I should probably say. This chapter,
right? It was gratifying, and it's funny. Like, Pale's chapters continue to slowly get longer and longer. And so reading this one, I was like, I need more. Tradition. Like, I need, like, I want so much more information, just because, like, yeah, I've been used to getting like really meaty Wildbow chapters. But it was great. It was about the domain ritual. It was about them meeting. We know how he lost his eye. Hit all the high points.
All the high points, all the low points. All the points. It was good stuff. All right. Yeah, probably should have asked if you like how I wrote all this, but I'm assuming you read it. Okay, perfect. So we'll start. Faysal reminisces on his adolescence. He thinks about his purpose and how everything will come to an end.
Yeah, I find Faysal really hard to understand. I don't know if you agree. I think it's hard to wrap my mind around a being that just is, or whatever. And it's like, how much of this is accurate and how much of it is self-delusion, and like how much of it matters. There's I'm gonna talk about Star Trek again. So Data in The Next Generation is an android, and so he talks a lot about how he doesn't have emotions, and so he doesn't really feel things, right? But having a character in a show for 7 seasons, like, never have like desires and never have like certain, never feel like hurt or betrayed, like never have any of these things is like boring as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And not relatable and not interesting, probably.
Mm-hmm.
So Star Trek really, like, Data has fucking feelings. And like
Mm-hmm.
they might not be the same, but they exist.
Yeah.
Um and so Faisal here being like, everything will end and that's just how it is. And I don't care, but then like obviously you do because you're doing so much. You're doing the most, Faisal. But
Yeah.
then if I think about Faceall like a computer program, right? Like something designed to execute, then like that maybe makes more sense with what Faceall is or what
Mm-hmm.
he claims to be. Um like I am programmed to do this one thing, and since like I'm programmed to create, and since creating isn't really happening now, um my program is altered and now I'm just programmed to like stave off destruction and
Mm-hmm.
change as much as I can. And
Yeah.
like I know that one day my programming will like fail and Ragnarok style I will die.
That's
Um
cool. Or it's not cool. It's just it is
it just
what it is.
is. But also like, and maybe right, so like I've been thinking a lot about AI and stuff recently because it's really, I mean it's kind of in the zeitgeist, and with lawyers there's a lot of talk of like, will AI replace us, and people
Hmm.
claiming to be able to use their AI to like win court cases, which is not allowed
That
and
seems
probably a
crazy.
dumb decision at this
Yeah,
point.
it seems like a bad. I mean, like the chat. What is it? Chat GPT
GPT.
is pretty cool, but like it's got a little bit of kinks to iron
Right,
out.
but I feel like like over the past 6 months or whatever, that AI has like really like leaps and bounds come a long way. And maybe that's just that I wasn't paying attention and now I am more cuz Ben's really fascinated by it. But AI and Johannes and no, face all. So, right, so there's like a thought that if you program an AI to produce paper clips, that it will destroy the universe to produce paper clips, right? That it will like do everything it can to turn everything into a paperclip, if it's like whatever powerful enough. And so like Faisal thinking I must stop, like I must do all that I can to stave off this inevitable destruction, and therefore I'm going to do this crazy thing where I like team up with a demon and send a town into the abyss because it will like stop the demon better than
Mhm.
how the humans are currently doing it. Like I guess I can see that from a like I am here to make paper clips, like
I am. I'm here to make paper clips.
sort of right, like thinking.
Mhm.
Um but it seems like totally bananas to be like, I an angel am going to like condemn a bunch of people to horrible damnation torture.
But it makes his process like easier, Malia. Helps
Well,
him do what he wants. I'm being sarcastic.
Well, it's like for this demon, right? Like, if he's right, like, this will more effectively bind Barbatorum than, like, practitioners have been doing, particularly the Thorburns, who are currently trying to end their family line. Which is interesting. Like, what is Grandma Rose's plan in terms of Barbatorum if the bindings unravel or something, if there's no longer a Thorburn practitioner or something? Um, I guess just eventually they'd weaken enough and there'd be no one there to. I don't know.
I don't
Anyway,
know.
I don't quite understand Faisal and how much I should, not even should, like, how do I approach this character? Is it useful or valid or something to say, like, fuck you, Faisal, you're totally full of shit and you're completely, like, your, like, compulsion to, like, stop the demons has, like, twisted and warped you into this, like, horribly utilitarian
Mhm.
being, but also it's fucking pointless because you're gonna lose, so what's the goddamn point?
Mhm.
Or is it just like, oh, he is a scary AI without feeling who's trying to make paper clips, which is still scary, right? But not, that's harder to criticize. That's like, oh, whoever programmed this AI, what the fuck? Not AI, what the fuck? I don't know.
Yeah. Where did he come from? Where did
Right,
he
and
go? Okay, I won't finish
where
that.
did he come from? Faisal Joe? Um,
Okay, I do want to talk about Chat GPT.
okay.
Have you used it?
Um, I haven't really. Ben used it yesterday. He wanted it to write uh the rules for wingspan in iambic pentameter, and it wrote a nice little
That's
poem.
great.
It was
Oh my
pretty it was pretty solid.
That's pretty
Um
great.
and he made it write me a bedtime story about how to not be stressed. So that was
Oh,
nice.
that's cute. How to not be stressed.
Yeah, it was just sort of, I don't remember what the overarching theme was, but like kind of, let go or something. Have you messed with ChatGPT?
I have. It's not going to sound as like useful, probably.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
well, first I wanted to see if it could write my summary for me.
Nice.
Which it can't because apparently it doesn't know anything about who Wild Bo is or anything like that. So I was like, well, I guess I could have like I was like to write to have it write a summary, I'd have to write a summary for it to write a summary. So that would be pointless. So then I just decided, have you heard of the Olive Garden thing?
I don't know.
Okay, like it's like someone said they what is it? I think this is when I think this is Chat GPT or something similar at least. Someone said that they fed like forced an AI to watch like 1,000 hours of Olive Garden commercials and like come up with one.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
um let me see here. I'm just gonna see if I can find a couple like excerpts because it was hilarious. Okay. So it's like a writer forced a bot to watch over 1,000 hours of Olive Garden commercials and then asked it to write one. And so I'll read a couple of these. So it's like Olive Garden restaurant. A group of friends laughs at a dinner table. A waitress comes to deliver what could be considered food. Waitress, pasta nachos for you. We see the pasta nachos. They're warm and defeated. Friend one, the menu is here. Waitress, lasagna wings with extra Italy. We see the lasagna wings. There's more Italy than necessary. Friend two, I shall eat Italian citizens. Waitress, unlimited stick. We see the unlimited stick. It is infinite. It is all. Yeah. It's just so weird.
That's awesome. I do wonder if those are
Like
AI or
real.
if those are people, yeah, like writing them.
It might be. I feel like it might be fake, but it's still funny. And I'm
It's
going to
really
read the
funny.
second part here.
Yes,
It's
please.
like, friend three, leave without me. I'm home. Waitress, gluten classico from the kitchen. We, the gluten classico, we believe the waitress that it is from the kitchen. We have no reason not to believe. Friend four says nothing. Friend one, what is wrong, friend four? Friend four says nothing. Friend two, friend four, what is wrong, friend four? Friend four smiles wide. Her mouth is full of secret soup.
Uh,
Announcer within a wet voice. Olive Garden, when you're here, you're here.
you're here.
So I don't know if it's fake, but I mean, it's really funny.
It's pretty good.
So I just wanted, so like, I decided I wanted to see what it would say about an Olive Garden commercial. And it actually just wrote like a pretty good, like pretty
Pretty
legit, like
standard.
Olive. Yeah. It was like, yeah, this is definitely just a normal Olive Garden commercial.
Nice.
Um, I think, what is it? I also put, write a short story about Olive Garden. It said, once upon a time, there was a small town on the outskirts of the city. The town was peaceful. The people were kind-hearted. One day, a new restaurant opened up, and it was called Olive Garden. The townspeople were excited about the new restaurant and eagerly made their way there to try out the food. It was beautiful, with dim lighting and rustic Italian decor. There's freshly baked bread and spices filled the air. Yada yada yada. People were amazed. Food was delicious. The night wore on. The restaurant began to fill up. The sounds of laughter and conversation filled the air. The wait staff was excellent. The people of the small town soon made Olive Garden their go-to spot for a night out. They loved the warm atmosphere, delicious food, and friendly staff. Olive Garden had become more than just a restaurant. It had become a gathering place for the community. Years passed, and Olive Garden remained a staple in the town. It had become a symbol of the town's warmth and hospitality, and the people were proud to call it their own. The restaurant had become a part of their story, a chapter in the town's history that would be remembered for years to come.
I don't know that that's really, there's not really like a narrative. It's just like
No,
a good
it's just
restaurant
like
opened and everyone was happy.
everyone's happy,
But that's
and
cool.
that's cool. I also just typed in apple pie recipe, and like it came up with like a pretty legit sounding apple pie recipe. I did Dursley's Save Harry because I saw something about on Reddit that said they put into chat where Harry got saved from Voldemort with a sniper. And so I just thought I don't know, it was fine. And then my favorite one that I put in was just cotton candy tornado. I just typed that to see what it would say. So it said a cotton candy tornado is a whimsical term that refers to visual phenomenon where cotton candy is spun around in a vortex-like pattern, creating the illusion of a miniature volcano. This can happen naturally in windy conditions, or it can be created artificially using special machines that spin the cotton candy at high speeds.
Wait, did it say miniature volcano?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say volcano? I meant to say tornado.
Okay, I was like, whoa.
No, sorry. That would be
thinking outside the box.
Ooh, I could put cotton candy volcano next. That would be
Ooh.
exciting. Then just like, yeah, process of making cotton candy involves heating sugar, spinning it rapidly to create thin strands of sugar. As the strands are spun, they cool and solidify, creating the fluffy cloud-like texture of cotton candy. When these strands are caught by a gust of wind, they can be carried in a circular pattern, creating the appearance of a mini tornado. While a cotton candy tornado may be a fun and mesmerizing sight to see, it is important to remember that real tornadoes can be extremely dangerous and should be taken seriously. If you live in an area prone to these, it's important to have an emergency plan in place.
Well,
So anyway,
that's so wholesome.
it's very wholesome. Yeah, I don't know. I'm having fun thinking of little prompts, most of which are food related, as you've noticed.
That's fair. Food's fun.
Food's fun. I should do a marshmallow one.
Yeah.
'Cause I've been on a marshmallow kick.
Yeah. Have you made any new ones since you told me about it?
How many did I tell you I made?
I don't know. There was a lemon. There was a rum, butterscotch rum. There was a vanilla.
Mm-hmm.
So it was that batch.
Okay. Yeah, guys, I've figured out you can make marshmallows, which is pretty sweet. Super cool. I actually didn't even mean that as a pun. It's so dumb. I made 2 other batches. One was chocolate marshmallows, which they're really good. Although I coated them in like powdered sugar and cocoa powder, which I realized like after the fact. Powder. Well, I mean, they taste really good, but if you toast them, it becomes really bitter, so you can't toast them. But it sounds weird, but if you put them in the microwave, they're so freaking good.
Huh.
Like so damn good.
Why does the microwave not fuck up the cocoa or whatever?
Well, because it doesn't like burn. It doesn't like toast it like a flame does. It just heats it up. Sure. It doesn't cause the burning. And then the last one I made was red currant.
Ooh.
Yeah, because we had that pretty good. We'd had some red currants, frozen red currants that we gotten from the Eastern European store in Austin. That like we got forever and ever and ever ago. We'd never used them for anything. So, yeah, I've had so many marshmallows, but it's so good. Like, I feel really fancy.
So do you usually toast them? And how did the red currant ones come out toasted?
Those are really good. Ew. Okay, there's some of them that I've made at least are better on their own. Some of them are better toasted. So vanilla's good anyway. You want it because it's vanilla. Butterscotch rum, you really should toast it because it's really delicious and it's just not as good by itself. Lemon was kind of weird toasted. So I'd probably have it by itself. Chocolate by itself or in the microwave. And I don't know, red currant was kind of good all the ways as well. So
you mentioned you were thinking about trying to do butterscotch without the like rum aspect. Have you done that or?
I have not because I only have so many places I can store marshmallows. Although the recipe says, because it doesn't involve any eggs, so it says like it as long as they're in an airtight container, you can store them for up to 6 months.
Wow.
So that's part of why I was like, I can make like 5 batches because I mean they're not gonna go bad right now. Yeah, so that's kind of neat. But I'm definitely I'm for sure gonna make more.
That's exciting. Ben,
the worst. What was that?
Well, Ben, the other night, because you told us about this, I don't know, a week or so ago. And Ben, the other night, we were with some friends, and he was like, "Yeah, we recently learned how to make marshmallows." I'm like, "No, we didn't." We were recently told that it's possible and that you heat some stuff up. And what? Like, no, that's not accurate. So he's
really funny.
He's excited about the idea. We just
no, it's cool. I mean, the worst part about it is like in terms of like, for one, I guess you have to just pay really close attention to like the temperature of the sugar, but also just like gelatin just smells terrible.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, it smells like as it's mixed with like I don't know, hot, like anything hot really, like it just smells awful. It goes away, it's fine, but like I'm almost tempted to try to see if I can make it with like agar just to not have to deal with the smell of it.
Right.
I
Would
mean,
that be like
it's
vegan or halal
yeah,
marshmallow?
yes, so that could also be cool.
Yeah.
Couldn't do butterscotch, or at least the butter part of the butterscotch, I guess.
Oh.
But I mean, you could do like brown sugar or yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you could definitely do vegan marshmallows.
Yeah.
It's very doable. So yeah, it's exciting. Yay. What flavor would you make?
I mean, I'm really into vanilla things in general, but I think I mentioned this. I might like an almond would be fun,
That's right. I remember you said that. That would be good.
but fruit is really interesting as well.
Hmm.
Wonder if like a black currant would be good, or like a guava.
I thought about stuff too. I was like, oh shoot, when I go back to Maui, I should see if I could make some Lilakoi marshmallows or something.
Ah,
That'd be good.
that'd be fun.
It'd be fun. We actually have some frozen black currants too. So I was trying to decide between that and red currants and was like, red's tartar, I think, but I'm literally making sugar stuff, so tart's good.
Tart's good.
Tart's good. Ben, sorry, like we learned how to make marshmallows.
No, we do it.
That's hilarious. It's okay to try. I found that pretty much every person at work has a different favorite. Most people like the lemon one that I've talked to, but like someone else thought it tasted kind of weird, which I'm like, fair enough. But then some people like the chocolate one the best, or some people, I mean, I don't know. The only one I haven't brought him is the red currant yet because I just made it yesterday. It's freaking delicious. I love that one. Anyway, I'm talking about marshmallows a lot, but they're like, it's legit. If I could just make as much money as a nurse, like as I do as a nurse, like making marshmallows, which I don't know, I'd consider it at least. I'd consider it because it's really fun. I like baking. I don't know if that really counts as baking because you're not actually baking anything. It's just confectionery, making candy.
It feels like it feels very like,
I mean, it's
you have
closer
to
than
be
like roasting
exact
like
and
asparagus or something,
Yeah.
right? So, but
Yeah.
yeah. And then I was thinking, Malia, like, because okay, again, I don't know what you guys decided for your wedding cake, but and I know a lot. This is controversial, so you all can like just shut it. But I recommend getting fondant, and the main reason, is because if you don't, your cakes might turn out drier. If you don't have that fondant on, because I noticed my wedding cake was a little bit dry because they usually make it like the actual cake like a couple days ahead of time so that they can stack it and decorate and all that. But also, if you get a really good bakery, their fondant might actually taste pretty good because they use marshmallow fondant. There's
I think that might be the one that they do.
Okay, because I've had that once. It's like another wedding I was invited to, and it was fucking delicious. So all you fondant haters may not have tried the marshmallow fondant because that shit's delicious. I mean, it's sweet as hell, but it's like marshmallow like deliciousness. So I would recommend that. I don't know if you're planning on doing that, but it might make your cake like not dry. So
Yeah, I might reach out to her about it.
peer pressure. Because I mean, you could always just take the fondant off and not eat it if you don't want to. But I think it keeps it more moist. Because I had wished after that, I was like, oh shoot, we should have gotten fondant on ours just for that. but like but you can make fondant from marshmallows, and so if you make homemade marshmallows and then you make fondant from your homemade marshmallows, that's got to be like next level fondant, right?
Probably.
That's got to be like the best fucking fondant ever, I would think. So, which who knows? Maybe you can't. There's probably like only a certain level you can really get to with fondant, but I don't know. It made me excited to think about that.
Yeah,
I get excited about food. Everyone can
ask
tell.
my baker.
Yeah, you should. All right. Anyway, sorry. Going back to the actual story that does not involve marshmallows or candy or food right now.
Right now, yeah.
You were talking about Star Trek and about Faysal being like fucking weird.
Being a paperclip AI.
Yes.
He's just so sanctimonious. I don't even know. Like, he's so when we first encounter him in this chapter, he's like at a vantage point, but not a high one because he's not a cool angel. And so he gets a lower tier vantage point, is what I gathered from this. Um, and he's just thinking a lot. And he's like, I really miss creating. Just my pure existence was like enough to like make all these narratives and inspire all this amazing shit, and then men showed up and they fucked us over. Cuz like number 1, we became reflected in their thoughts and behaviors, so like we changed and we became intelligent, and that, whatever. And fuck that. Fuck the change, I don't like it.
Change is hard.
Change is hard,
It's
to be
relatable.
fair. But so I thought it was interesting that he was like, so it seems like angels existed first, but humans really did shape them. Um and like, does this support the idea that the practice revolves around humans? Again, thinking of Avery and her conversation with the Page of Suns, like I don't want it to just be like humans are the epitome and everything else is like here to like serve us or whatever. I think it's interesting thinking like humans have this like characteristic that warps shit around them. Um in the way that like we did with angels, according to Faysal. Like, that's interesting. Um but yeah, is it like, do spirits just think we're really fun and so they kind of twist things to be like us? Did we manifest spirits? Like, what is going on in terms of humans' influence on the practice, I guess? The magical system in this universe, because it seems hardcore. Um there's also this weird thing where, so it seems like the angels aren't totally sure what's up with demons in terms of like how they came to be. They talk about man creating its own demons, so maybe they manifested some of them, but I think Faysal's friend or something talks about how maybe demons have existed, like maybe they've existed forever as well. And I don't really know what to do with those thoughts, but that's fair.
That's fair.
Yeah. But yeah, it's this whole part was like very Lord of the Rings feeling. Um like the idea of like ages of different beings, right? Like the angels, then the men, then the demons seems to be this trajectory, creation, change, and destruction. But it reminds me of the way Middle Earth is created, right? I think I talked
Hmm.
about this
Yeah, I think you did.
another time Faisal was sort of discussed, but the idea of like just these beings in this like vast, beautiful landscape, like forming rivers and just sort of like, running around in their like beauty and awesomeness, doing cool shit. And I mean, a difference is that like, Morgoth Melkor, the like bad guy, the was very present in that point, and Melkor isn't like truly destruction. I think he's more of a change agent. He can't like destroy the song. He can only fuck with the song in a way that Iluvatar, God, like still makes harmonious.
Hmm.
Whereas the Otherverse seems to be like there's angels and there's demons and they're kind of these opposing forces, and we don't know what's up. We don't know if there's like something controlling it. We don't know what the plan is. We don't have a sense of exactly what's happening. We just know like these are our roles and entropy is inevitable. um, and like, does that have to do with like the heat death of the universe or something? Like, why are demons stronger? Like, why is the destruction of all things inevitable? Does it
Same.
does it tie into the idea of the Big Bang and the heat death of the universe and those sorts of things?
Or just that everything's like always trying to find an equilibrium. And
Hmm. Yeah, I feel like men, quote unquote, are more like the equilibrium, like the change aspect,
mhm,
as opposed to like everything will end and be destroyed and be gone.
mhm.
That feels like an extreme end of stuff.
It
Uh,
does sound pretty extreme,
yeah.
pretty hardcore.
Yeah. And I mean, I also, like, don't like thinking about space. Space is really scary. I don't like thinking about, like, the fact that our sun's gonna explode or whatever. Like, I don't like thinking about God, like, asteroids and meteors and all that shit. Those are, like, scary, and I don't like it. And so maybe I just don't accept this concept of everything is going to end very well. Um, something something, a metaphor for a person's life and how we're born and then we grow and change and then we die.
Mhm.
And how we don't like thinking about death and we don't like confronting that reality, and maybe it's fine. It just is the way things are and it's whatever. Like maybe
Mhm.
Faisal is this is gonna sound stupid. I'm sorry, Jenny. Maybe Faisal is as
Leah, I just talked to you for like 10 minutes about like a cotton candy tornado in Olive Garden. I think you're okay. You don't have to
like
apologize for being stupid.
well, maybe Faisal is as like makes as much sense as like healthcare, in which case Faisal makes a lot of sense. Like everyone's gonna die. And that means, I guess sort of like the demons are gonna win. Like if you are a universe, right? The angels create you, you change a bunch when man hang out, and then the demons win. You fucking die, right?
Mhm.
But that doesn't mean that we should never try to mend a person and help them extend their life and
Hmm.
whatever. And so maybe Faisal is the healthcare system.
I honestly think I think everyone's gonna think it's really funny that you're the one that, like, came up with that.
Yeah,
But, I mean, I can kinda see that. That makes
maybe.
sense. Because, like, yeah, I mean, everybody's gonna die someday, but, like, that doesn't mean you should just be like, "Okay, I guess we're not doing anything for you because 'cause you're gonna die anyway someday." Like,
Right.
you know? Even if you're I mean, well, this is I don't know. I don't necessarily think this is a great thing for in most cases, but like even patients that are like in their 90s, like 80s and 90s will still have like procedures done to try to prolong their life, like having feeding tubes placed or having I don't know, getting biopsies done to check for cancer and certain things like that.
Mhm.
I don't know, depending on how old you are, not even just how old you are, but how good your health is. I think some of those things we probably shouldn't do,
Mm.
just in terms of ethically.
The cost benefit analysis. Ooh, Jenny, this is great.
Cost
This is a
benefit. That's not even where I was going with that, but
right. Well, not like of society's cost, but your own personal cost of like, is me going through this procedure and recovering from it worth the extra
yes,
year and a half of sort of suffering?
exactly. And a lot of
Um,
times, if you're in that position, your family's a lot of times your family's going to be either pushing you to do it or they're going
mhm,
to be making the decision for you.
mhm,
And it's out of the love of their heart most of the time.
mhm.
But it, a lot of
It
times people
might
don't
not
see
be
that.
the thing that
It's
yeah,
not it, it doesn't necessarily always improve quality of life.
right,
It's not always the kindest thing to do. Um, but that's a difficult topic to to
right,
speak with people about.
right. And yeah, to be clear, I didn't mean like this will cost the hospital too much money or
Okay.
whatever.
I just wanted to
Sorry.
make sure. I was like, shoot, I hope I didn't come across like that. Like,
No.
yeah, they're old already, so we don't want to spend our resources.
No, no, no.
That's not
Yeah,
what I was
that is not what I meant. I meant like,
saying.
yeah.
I was like, damn, that's like really fucking cold. Holy shit.
Right. No, 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 no,
Yeah,
no.
no.
Like how dad always said he didn't want to go through dialysis,
Yeah,
like um because like even though, that helps people live and survive, it really changes how your whole life is,
yeah.
and dad didn't think it was worth it.
Mhm. And there are a
Um
lot of people that it is worth it to
right.
do. We're not saying if you guys are gonna get on if any of you are getting on dialysis, that, like, it's worth being dead instead. 'Cause
No, yeah, yeah.
but, like, I have a lot of patients I take care of with dialysis, and they are all doing fine, but
Right.
it can be really difficult on you as well. And yeah, no, I mean, and it was really difficult, but that's, like, a big reason that, like I mean, we could have tried to do things to intervene with, like, dad,
Mhm.
and we could have tried to do things to prolong his life, but it would not have been what he would want,
Right.
and it would not have been a good quality of life, and
Right.
so, and that's a very difficult choice to have to make, especially with someone you love, because you don't want to feel like, you're letting them go.
Right.
But it's just you want to do what's going to be best for them and what they would want. But
Yeah, and it's hard, but it's also like kind of an individual choice, I feel like, for,
mhm,
like my friend's mom has cancer,
mhm.
um and it seems like a bad one, and that it's progressing quickly. I mean, I don't really know
Do you
a
know what
ton about
kind?
cancer. Yes, except I forget. I remember it sounded hardcore. It sounded like the name for skin cancer, but it wasn't that, and it was hardcore. Let's go look.
Something but like melanoma, multiple myeloma.
Multiple myeloma, yeah.
Mm,
Um, and she doesn't want to do chemo and stuff.
yeah.
And yeah, she's not like super old or whatever. Like, I think it's a hard her I think it's hard on a lot of her family members that she doesn't want to go through that, but she
Yeah.
might be looking at it and, kind of be saying like this isn't worth it. Like living like this isn't worth it.
Mhm. I don't blame her for that. Chemo's very, very hard.
Yeah.
And yeah, depending on how fast it's progressing, and yeah, the type of cancer and how far along it is and all that stuff. Like, sometimes the treatment is gonna almost be, well, yeah, it's not gonna. Sometimes it won't help your quality of life. Sometimes it'll just be kind of awful. So I don't blame her for that.
Right.
I know in some, is it? There's some states that like do like, are there some places that do like euthanasia, right? Trying to think like
Yeah, I feel like some places in Europe
places
have
in Europe, but I'm trying to think.
physician-assisted suicide. Like, the UK famously does not. I think
Mhm.
Oregon might allow it.
Yeah, so it's, I think, okay, I guess maybe I don't know what the difference between these is. It's like euthanasia is currently illegal in all 50 states. Assisted suicide is legal in 10 jurisdictions in the US. So it looks like
I th
Washington, D.C., and the states of California, Colorado, Oregon, Vermont, New Mexico, Maine, New Jersey, Hawaii, and Washington.
oh, what that's interesting, I didn't know that. I'm pretty sure the difference is who administers the medicine. I think that
Hmm.
euthanasia is the doctors administering the medicine, whereas, assisted suicide is the doctors, like, prescribing whatever to you, but then you have to take it yourself. Um,
Okay.
I think it's the difference.
Interesting. Okay. Um, yeah, I guess. Well, anyway, yeah. So, but I think that that would be kinder a lot of times if we would let people do, at least for certain things like cancer, or yeah, so like pancreatic cancer, certain things where like it's you're going to have a very painful death.
Mhm.
It's much nicer and kinder to let them go when they want, I think.
Yeah.
But uh, we got a ways to go in this country. I mean, we got to do a lot of good things, but got a lot of work to do. But
Mhm.
especially nowadays. um, anywho, let's move on. This really
Well
happy. Oh, go ahead.
well, I had a thought that I'm trying
Okay.
to see. I don't wanna say something insensitive, but
You can
the
edit it out,
idea that
but
Faysal
you won't.
is trying to well, you can tell me if it sounds really shitty. The idea so Faysal is trying to extend the life of the universe at any cost.
Hmm.
Um, like, Faysal is working with a demon and condemning a town, to maybe eventually kinda kill that demon, and is this sort of like, is Mara called humanity a cancer, I think. And, like, maybe, a more apt thing would be thinking of Barbatorum as some, like, horrible disease or something, but, like, is Faysal like, using methods that are going too far and aren't worth it or something? Like, the universe is so much bigger than, like, this tiny little town and these little people and, like, their little lives,
Hmm.
but maybe this is going beyond the bounds of medical ethics or doing something that is, like, too fucked up.
But I feel like in order to have ethics, you almost need to be able to feel things about things, you
Mm,
know? And Basal's just like, well, this is gonna happen. It is what it is. I mean, I feel like the most we've seen him excuse me. I feel like the most like emotion we've seen is him getting kind of irritated. But like besides that,
See, and that to me, it's like, no, you do have something, Faisal.
yeah,
You
I know
do
you're full of
want
it.
this. You do want. Ugh,
Hmm.
whatever.
But I don't know if I wouldn't necessarily call him ethical, you know. So I don't think he would give a fuck.
Sure. But it just like if the metaphor is, in this case, the universe is like a person's life. Is this like doing something outside the bounds of medical ethics, or even just like
Uh,
outside the bounds of what this person would want to extend their life?
I don't know. I mean, that's kind of a hard. Because like the universe is fucking huge.
Right,
Earth is very, very, very tiny in comparison. So
right,
frankly, like no, it probably like wouldn't be. Just in terms of the scale of things, at least.
right. It's
But it
more
depends
like
on how many other
rem-
places are
yeah.
uh affected by like demons and how far that's going to spread across the universe and all that. But like, I mean, in terms of that standpoint, I mean, the whole fucking universe being destroyed versus like a town. Yeah, I feel like,
But it's not going to stop the universe from being destroyed.
but it's going to prolong the life just like for a person, right? So it's like if you
Right.
even if you like talk about someone someone's diabetic, they have a foot injury, don't notice it because they can't feel anything in their foot, gets very infected, uh gets gangrenous, have to cut off part of the limb to save themselves. Sure, some people do choose not to do that. Most people will choose to cut off their limb because
Mhm.
they think it's worth saving themselves. But, they're going to cut off that, I mean, and the earth to the universe, that's not even a limb, that's like a mole. Like they're gonna get that little bit removed.
Right, but yes, but also what Faisal's doing seems super fucked up.
Of course it's fucked up, we're not arguing about that. Of course it's fucked up, but you're saying in terms of like what the
I'm just trying to
universe,
figure out,
you
like,
know
is Faisal right? I guess. Like, is it right? Is it worth doing this thing to maybe like bind this demon more, or is this too far and
I mean, I think
wrong?
to him it is worth it because like you're saying, AI making paper clips or whatever, like he is trying to do his fucking job. And that's
Yeah.
the only thing that's important to him. He doesn't give a fuck about like if it's gonna hurt somebody, like, or he doesn't care. That's why he's working with a damn demon. Like it's not ethical. He's not one to ask that type of a question,
Mhm.
because he's not human. I know what you're saying, but I'm just like, no, I don't think it's right. But I don't think he cares. I don't think that would change his mind.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fascinating.
It's fascinating. All right. Well, emotionless, uh, really task oriented Faisal goes and hangs out with his bro.
Ooh. Um Faisal seems to have problems with sensory overload. I don't know if that's the right way to describe it, but like being around humans, he's like, they're so loud, I can't do this. Like there's so much. Um, which is kind of funny. Um
Hmm.
but yeah, we see this town, all these people, they're described as having a rich brown skin. There's tourists of all different skin colors. I'm kind of trying to figure out like where is this? I don't know. Um, but this place isn't doing super like the balcony is decaying and whatever. And it's like, is it noticeably decaying to a human, or is it just because you're like an angel and you notice all this crap? But yeah, he's in the form of a cat, which I thought was an interesting choice, just in
Hmm.
terms of we
Well,
always see him in
he's a
dog
dog.
form.
Yeah.
Right. And before this he chose like wolf and crap like that. It's also funny that he chooses to be a dirty cat. I guess like a shining white cat might draw some attention, but also
Hmm.
like I think it comments on what he thinks of cats.
I was like, he's dirty, but like, if you look at him, you're like, oh
You
man,
can
he'd be
tell.
fucking gorgeous without the dirt.
Right.
It's like, okay.
Yeah. And we see something that Faisal does to try to make more paper clips. He makes it a little bit harder for these dudes to pick up garbage. if he does that a bit more, like it'll accumulate, rats will show up, the monsters will be like, "Hey, the rats are up there. It's probably fine." And then the goblins will be pissed about that and they'll fight. And so then the practitioners will step in and like weaken them but not totally destroy them. And then Faisal might step in to like weaken the human practitioners and somehow this will help things.
Somehow this will help things.
Showing how Faisal's willing to make things worse to ultimately lead them to be better theoretically.
Hmm.
So yeah, we meet Aerith or Harith or Farith. I was listening to the audiobook when I was taking my notes and I couldn't quite catch it. But we meet this dude. He's a angel of the third choir, I think. Yeah, because he's into buildings.
Into buildings.
That's his whole world. And they talk about humanity and how they're not sure if humanity is like a threat or not. If they should like, encourage humanity or destroy humanity or whatever. Like, what are humans good and helpful? And how they don't know. They don't know what, I don't know, the greater cosmic plan is or something. Like they don't know. But the humans are, not nearly as bad as the demons. The demons are the ones that are really bad and we should stop them.
Yeah.
We won't be able to, but we should try.
We should give it a good old try.
Right? We should do something. And so apparently, Aerith is like, "Hey, I'm really busy and you're over here not doing shit. So can you do me a favor or something? Like, two problems have arisen in one place and you should go deal with them." And I wonder like how like angels seem very decentralized. I guess demons are too, with the exception of maybe like the lawyers and stuff, but like this is just some random angel kind of coming up and being like, "Hey, help me out." Like it's not Faisal receiving orders from some sort of like established hierarchy. There's not like I would expect him to talk to other angels of his own choir and stuff, but this is just sort
Mhm.
of a casual like, "Hey, someone has noticed that there are these problems."
Yeah.
And I don't know, I found that kind of interesting. It kind of ties into the whole like they don't understand what's going on universe-wise thing.
Mhm.
And this part reminds me of like Good Omens. Have you seen or read Good Omens?
Mm-mm. I've
Um
not.
yeah, I recommend it. Watching it, there's a mini series on Amazon. It's David Tennant and Michael, I want to say Michael Sheen, as like basically the stars, but it's a Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman book is what it's
Mhm.
based on. Yeah, Michael Sheen. And it's so funny and it's just sort of like a kind of a satire about Christianity. But there's like loads of angels and loads of demons and they're all like working and trying to like make certain things happen and like, win the big war after the apocalypse and, crap like that.
Mhm.
But they don't seem to have like direct connections to God. And so they're just sort of like, we don't know, like the ineffable plan, like they don't actually know what that is.
Yeah.
And it kind of reminds me of like this, like there's just a bunch of these beings running around like not really sure what they're doing. But like trying to follow these imperatives. I don't know. But conveniently this small Canadian town has both a demon and a reckless practitioner.
Fucking
And
perfect.
uh you know, two birds one stone, we can figure this
That's right.
out.
Does Ben get offended by that phrase?
Oh, interesting. I'll ask him about it.
All right. All right. Thanks. I'm just curious about that. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So he ends up meeting 15-year-old Johannes, who gets the hell out of there.
This was exciting. He's about to start his domain ritual. He's got some allies there, including the rat fairy, which fascinating. And he's like, I'm the piper, the sorcerer, the vagabond. Um, and it feels presumptuous to declare yourself a sorcerer at 15. One of the things I wish we'd learn more about Johannes was how he got to this point, because he's like, I was born into the practice, like, I've been doing this since forever, but also I have, like, no family, no connections, no anything,
Yeah.
and I'm like, "How the fuck does that work?"
Yeah.
How like, the Bahames are born into the practice, like, like, all these other people, right? And, like, he seems to sort of be like, "No, I've been a practitioner since birth," which is bananas, and I don't know if that's just, like, a weird thing about Johannes that we will never learn, or if it's, like, a fun key to unraveling the story, but, um, it's weird how he's really good at this, but also has, like, seemingly no connections to, uh, much in the practice.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so Johannes is gonna do something shady and do this domain ritual in a way that he can gain a huge area of land without a ton of people noticing.
Mhm.
And, Faisal is like, "No, absolutely not." And Johannes is like, "Oh, come on, like, this is the first week of summer break, like, all those fucking families are off vacationing with their fucking kids, like, come on." Like, and I love that, like, um, I think last week was spring break, and, I could tell it was just a little bit slower at the courthouse, with people presumably, like, traveling and whatever and doing
Uh-huh.
stuff with their family. It was just kinda funny.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, he's there, he has his laptop, um, he has he's all ready, to do the thing, and he's like, "Okay, just kidding, I'll do it later, bye." Uh, and Faisal's like, "No, you will not do it at all." Um, and so Johannes is like, "I'm going to run away now." He tells the rat fairy to attack, and
Mhm.
like, I don't know what to do with this person in the scale of the Wild Bow Otherverse
Mhm.
because it's a rat themed fairy.
Mhm.
Um, and I like that feels like that could be summer, like dark summer, or
Mhm.
maybe Dark Fall. But then he's like, "It's a winter fairy," and I'm like, "What the fuck is going on?" Maybe it's a like dark summer, dark fall fairy who got so obsessed with rats that they just they were like, "I am the rat fairy. Like this is my whole existence." Like they like
Yeah,
fell to winter because they were so into rats.
'cause they were yeah, couldn't do much else with maybe, yeah.
Which seems, like, really ridiculous, but cool. I This is the first time in Pact, pretty sure, that we have, reference to the courts as being related to seasons, and I just thought it was fascinating that it, like, did not align with what I thought this rat fairy would be at all.
Mm,
'Cause, like,
mhm.
just the idea of a rat fairy, like, screams goblin. Um, yeah,
I guess
or
so.
maybe Dark Summer. I don't know. What is Dark Summer? It's fine.
Dark summer, dark fall, or at one of the darker spots,
Yeah.
one of the creepy spots.
One of the but yeah, so Johannes's friends or whatever, sort of not really with this fairy because he has the pipes and they control rats, and so he, also blows on the pipes and gets them to swarm Faisal, and he's running, and he realizes like, oh, Faisal killed them all. Great. So he's on the run.
He's on the run. So Johannes shoots Faisal in the chest, and Faisal gets kinda pissed off.
Face all experiences and emotion. Um, this was pretty funny. This was really clever. Yeah, the idea that, he had to set all these things up and really plan and try to make this domain ritual work, and the balance between having powerful things that would really work against threats, but not too specific because then that would leave big holes.
Mhm.
So this room is a trap because he he's drawn this diagram that you can't see without, I think, a black light or something, and it will bind the bullet that he has in his gun, which is just like really cool and brilliant. And
Mhm.
this section, some of this stuff reminds me of like some of the stuff that Wildbow does in like the parahuman stories in terms of like different powers with freezing things in place and people who like rats, and that was fun.
Mhm.
But yeah, the idea that like he shoots Faisal and then binds the bullet that's inside his body in place, just to make it, a little bit more, a little less convenient, and
Yeah.
realizing that, like, yeah, if he can physically lodge this bullet into something, he can, like, hold, a lot of different types of things in place for a second.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's interesting here how, bullets don't destroy, bullets change. Um, like, how many things in this universe actually destroy? Like, not many, like
Demons.
demons. Like, that's it.
Pretty much it.
And that's fascinating. But yeah, this was really cool. He uh meets up with the angel a bunch of different times and has like ran around, uh eventually gives up on even trying to start the ritual. Um but this connection that's forming between them allows him to kind of anticipate what Faysal might do, and that's fun. Um yeah.
Yeah. So Faysal ends up watching as Johannes goes into the closet.
That's a fun way to phrase that. I don't
I
know.
thought it was funny.
So Johannes summons some vestiges to distract Faysal, throw him off. He puts his blood into them and tells them to scatter, and so presumably this made it slightly harder for Faysal to figure out where he was. And he finally is able to start his ritual. Um, and he's in this tiny little closet, and you're thinking like, okay, this kid has kind of given up and is only taking this fucking closet, but you know that he takes more because,
Yeah.
so that was, surprising and confusing. But he starts doing his ritual, and he claims only the places and spirits as far as the reach of my voice. And the fun trick is that he's like, a millennial practitioner or Gen X practitioner or whatever, and knows things about technology and has installed speakers all over this place and turned them down as low as he could manage it without it, for it so that it'll still work, and makes his claim. And, he's like, I don't have a bloodline, I'm not gonna have kids, like, I want this to be a sanctuary and it'll go away when I die or whatever. And I mean that's maybe helps with a non-aggression sort of thing, but it's interesting in terms of like if he's trying to do this big thing and change up the practice, like why not try to keep it around after you die? I don't know.
Mm.
But so most people didn't really hear or didn't really understand. I'm wondering how this affects the like physical call that people feel. Because presumably, when Verona, when these people do their domain claim, like all the people around can feel it.
Mhm.
And we explicitly know that this one is weird. And I guess something about like maybe like his voice was technically audible in all those places, so the spirits didn't feel like they had to like do mental pings off of people or something as much.
Mhm.
But this was cool. Um and yeah, so Johannes managed to make his claim, and he's still gonna have to fight a little bit because the goblins under the bridge did hear him and are on their way.
Which
So
is super bummer.
that sucks. Yeah.
Yeah, that straight up sucks. So Faysal ends up making a deal with Johannes, and as Malia kind of talked about in his millennial ways, Johannes cheats the system. Probably not millennial. I don't know.
I'm thinking he might be Gen X.
Gen X. Yeah.
But yeah, so the goblins fucking beat the shit out of him. He gave his eye to one of them. His arm might need to be amputated. His leg is really fucked up. Like he's not doing well, but he's alive and he's dealt with all of the you know, uh contesters or whatever they're called. And Faisal decides he's not going to try to contest this as long as Johannes promises to never tell anyone how he did this, and to take him as familiar. So that's fun. So he finishes his claim. He has marked out, exactly where his speakers were, where his voice led to. It's a big fucking area, and he claims it. And that was fun.
Yeah. That's pretty smart.
Yeah.
So we end the flashback. We come back to current times, and Faisal uses his familiar connection to his advantage.
So Faysal talks about how he anticipated Johannes's failure. Uh, I'm not entirely sure what failure he's referring to. Maybe something about the Lord claim and how stuff would get sucked down into the abyss or something. Um, and so he's used the situation to his own ends, and he doesn't give a shit about Johannes, and he takes over Johannes' body, mind, and spirit. And that's fun. And, Faisal is kind of like, well, at this moment, they can kind of get out of this house and get out of this, sinking into the abyss. But I am a angel of the seventh choir, and I deal with paths, and I am the gatekeeper, and I will keep them from getting out. So
Thanks a
that's
lot,
fun.
bro.
Yeah.
It's a real dick move there.
Yep.
It's a real big sloppy dick move there.
It's a real Charles move.
Real Charles move.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
Fun
right.
times.
Fun times. So we are at the end of the arc.
Woo!
All right. So what does CNADA mean?
Yeah, so as a reminder, it means without day in Latin. It is used to mean like indefinitely in a legal context. Usually you adjourn sine die. So adjourn indefinitely. It's interesting that like it's not entirely true that this arc was without day. Like Blake explicitly is standing in sunlight at one point during this arc, but the town is without day in this arc, and I don't know, they're fucked indefinitely. I'm not entirely sure if there's a deeper meaning than just like the Bahame stop time. Isn't that fun? But yeah, it was fun.
All right. Indefinitely fucked without day. Also was the rat fairy just in the dark court, I don't know.
Yeah. That's
Maybe that
true. Sunless.
sunless.
And they're going to the abyss, and that's CNADA.
Mm-hmm.
Fun.
CNADA. Every time, man. Just all right. So where do we think this is going?
Seems like it's an Abyssal 3 beat.
Fuck.
We're going to the abyss. And it's Barbie time, bitches.
Barbie time, bitches.
He's a Barbie girl in a Barbie world.
All right.
Yeah. We're going down.
We're going down. Oh my goodness. Okay. So but let's go to our pale in comparison section.
Yeah, especially in talking over this, it just really strikes me how much Johannes reminds me of Verona. Um, Maybe it's a sort of sorcerer, connection that they both are really interested in, like all of the practice. But he's just really clever, really creative, uses like takes big risks, thinks outside of the box, really is like thinking about changing up how things are done, um and finding like people's assumptions and different things and really like taking advantage of those things to uh gain power. Johannes, I don't really agree with Johannes's whole like let's make a place where these vestiges are like tortured for fun or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think he's like a bad person, and I really think a lot of things about him are really cool and interesting. And yeah, just this he really reminded me of Verona in this bit. I don't know if you agree.
That's interesting. I could kind of see that. Both going on the sorcerer route. Very a lot of ingenuity.
Mhm.
Don't seem to be really good at fighting necessarily.
Mhm.
I mean, she's good at fighting, but you know what I mean. Like, I feel like out of the three, she's more like in the
She's not
back, like ops.
right. She's you almost never really gonna like get into hand-to-hand combat with someone. Like she's done it, but in
Mhm.
general, yeah, it's the big moves. And this like, Verona essentially like made Kenneth Found happen. Um and people see that as like a huge what the fuck like thing, and like Johannes' domain is a huge what the fuck thing.
Yeah, it's a huge what the fuck thing.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
And then I just kind of thought, like I feel like we've learned a decent amount about the familiar bond with Avery and Snowdrop and with Blake and Evan, but Avery and Snowdrop seem to be able to understand each other and have this like kind of connection mind link all the time.
Mhm.
And there's not a ton of. I mean, we don't see Johannes with Facefall as his familiar from his point of view. So maybe there was more of a connection there with Johannes, but with Faysal, it's just sort of like, yep, that man exists, and now I have him. I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like, Faisal. I feel like Johannes should have asked a couple more questions, probably.
Yeah,
But he also was like on the verge of death, so
yeah,
probably was like,
yeah.
whatever. That's a that's a future problem.
Right. God.
All right, Malia. It is bold and specific prediction time.
Yay. um. So yeah. So they're gonna. I think they're gonna be in the abyss, and I don't know. I kind of see there being like maybe some sort of weird montagey thing where we see Blake encounter like Mags, and we'll see like Sandra will have gotten sucked down there. Like we'll kind of see all these like. I mean, when they got sucked down to the abyss as a group, or when they went to the abyss as a group last time, they didn't all get like separated and stuff. So maybe this isn't really what would happen. But I'm just sort of like, I mean, maybe it'll just be like we're here and we're running, and Blake and Rose are snipping at each other about how to best work with the barber, but also maybe they had come to some sort of revelation about how they could work together. Uh does Rose have the conquest mirror? Probably. That's interesting. Okay. Bold and specific prediction. Blake is going to get out of the abyss again.
All right.
Or maybe he won't. Maybe that's the 3 beat. Fuck. No, he's gonna get out. It's
Okay,
fine.
Blake's getting out.
Yep.
Jailbreak. Jail Blake. There you go.
Blake. So stupid. Okay.
Your face is stupid. It's not. It's not stupid. Okay. All right. Our previous discussion question: what is your favorite enemies go to lover story? And we'll start with Jarl Zarl. They say it's definitely red, white, and royal blue for me. When I first read it, I immediately reread it twice for a total of 3 times in 1 week. It's about the son of the US president and a prince of England who are definitely nemesises. Nemesises. I'm gonna keep going. We're forced to pretend to be best friends for the media situation that, spoiler alert, gets a little out of hand. It's basically set in a AU where their version of Trump didn't win. It is very emotional, but felt very real with its ups and downs while still being optimistic and having a happy ending. One of their favorite elements in it is definitely the excerpts of text/group chats and letters/emails that are sprinkled throughout that really make it feel like the friendships and relationships between the characters are bigger and deeper than what's just shown on the page.
Oh, I love that.
That
That
sounds
sounds great.
Yeah, that sounds really fun.
Red, white, and royal blue. That's such a cute. Yep. Love
It's a
it.
great title. I love it.
Our other discussion question answer is from Blake Tall, who asks, does Legolas and Gimli count? Because that's what they're going with. Not really enemies, not really lovers, but they overcame their mutual distrust and centuries, parentheses, millennia, of prejudice and hurt, and became such great friends with such deep and genuine respect for each other and their ways. And yes, that totally is acceptable, and I love them.
That's great.
And then puts a fun bonus that since it was St. Patrick's Day when they answered, bonus shout out to all you Irish Catholic/Protestant couples out there. And I love that.
That's amazing. All right, this week's discussion question. Do you have anything?
I was thinking something about AI, like either like put something into the AI and like tell us what comes out, or like pretend you're like an AI responding to a prompt or something.
That's fun. Okay, because I was thinking
related.
something Barbie related. Like, we know that the barber is, I'm just like thinking, the barber is a demon barber. What would a Barbie demon look like?
I mean, like Chloe or whatever, that movie. Megan. I guess she's probably not a
feel
demon.
like it'd be, no, she's not a demon. She's just a creepy like thing.
Little doll thing. Yeah.
Little doll thing. I like the AI. Pretend you're an AI, or put a prompt into AI.
Yeah. What about like put a fun Otherverse related prompt into an AI sort of thing, ChatGPT 4, whatever, and let us know what comes out. And
you probably should tell them kind of more than just a fun Otherverse thing. Like, yeah, You guys come up with a discussion question and
do it.
And do it.
What about
there?
Like a poem or a song?
How about a haiku?
Okay, yeah, haikus. I love that. Get an AI to write you an Otherverse related haiku.
I think that sounds great.
And share it with us.
And then share
let
it.
us know what your prompt was too, because I'm curious.
Yes, I like it.
Yeah, because as Jenny has shown us, you probably can't just write me an. I mean, you could, but if you want it to be about like
their prompts are going to be longer than the haiku.
Yeah,
most likely. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please subscribe, share it with your friends, and leave a rating and review. To support our podcast, go to patreon.com/doofmedia. And if you'd like to support Wildbow as he continues to write fantastic stories, go to patreon.com/wildbow.
You can follow the pod on Twitter @PaleComparison or send us an email at paleincomparisonpod@gmail.com. Keep an eye out for our Reddit thread in r/parahumans, where you can answer our discussion question and share your thoughts on this episode. In addition, if you would like to see all of my predictions laid out, check out our episode description for a link to a prediction tracker. Next episode, we will be covering chapters 15.1 and 15.2.
All right, this week's fun fact. Because it has become so good at recycling, Sweden now is importing 800,000 tons of trash each year from other European countries, including Norway, to power its waste-to-energy program. Burned waste powers 20% of Sweden's district heating, as well as electricity for roughly 250,000 Swedish homes.
Damn.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, damn, they're importing trash. Like, because they're so good at it.
Bring us your trash.
Yes. Like, shoot, feel free to take some of our trash.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe we should just like learn how to use that same waste energy program. Man, that would be great someday.
Indeed.
All right. Have a good week.
Bye.